All right. So for admin side of pages, before managing the quiz, creating question and all that, we are missing categories, right? So first, let's work on categories thing. Then we'll go to the creating quiz options. Okay. So for category, I don't think we have added the database entity. So let's go to the end. Oh, we already have entity category ID and name. And if we go to our services, we just have auth service. We don't have anything other than this, right? Let me zoom this and let's create a category service. Here we'll say category service in our API. Okay, inside this, we will inject our quiz context. Quiz context. And for category, do we already have category DTO or we don't have that? Let's check in share DTOs. We don't have that yet. So in DTOs, let's create a new category DTO. Public class category DTO int ID. This should be nothing. We don't need any data annotation on this. Then we have name, category name. On this, we will have required attribute and we can have a max length attribute of maybe, let's say 30. What do we have in entity? Max length 50. So max length 50. All right, save it. Here we are not having required, but that will be handled by this not nullable string only. So we are good. All right, category DTO is ready. Now let's go to our category service. Category service. All right. Here, first thing we'll create public async task, then save category async, and we'll get category DTO as a parameter. Inside this, first we'll check if DTO.id is equals 0. That means we are creating the category. Create new category. And then in else part, we will have edit or update existing category case. Okay. Now in category, when we are creating a new category, we need category entity object. So category equals new category, this entity. We'll set ID to 0, so there is no point of setting it. We'll just set name equals DTO.name. All right. And after that, we'll say underscore context dot categories dot add category. That's all. Then when we are updating it, so first we need to get this category from database. So we'll say db category equals await context dot categories dot first or default async, and here we'll say c.id equals dto.id. Okay, now we'll check if db category is equals null. That means this is some invalid case. Someone is trying to update a category which does not exist. Okay, so here we need to say category does not exist. So something throw error or send some error message, something like this, error response. Okay, and then we'll directly return from here. We will not continue further. If that's not the case, here we'll simply update db category.name equals dto.name, because for id we are not updating it. Well, let's see in quiz context. Okay. So after setting this, what we can do, we can simply say underscore context dot categories dot update db category. Although we are not having as no tracking here, so it will automatically track it, but let's add it explicitly to avoid some confusions. All right, and after this, outside of this if and else condition, here we will say context dot save changes async, and we'll await it, and we are good with this. Now from here we need to send the response, the correct response here, and from here the error response. And one more thing we'll do here, what if the category with the same name already exists? So we need to check that as well. Okay, so for that what we can do, before this if and else condition, we can simply check if await underscore context dot categories dot as no tracking dot first or default, or we can say any async. Now what we will check, we will check if there is any category with this same name. C dot name equals dto dot name. Now with this there is a problem. If we just have this thing, now the problem would be, let's say I am updating some category, and I guess we should be good, right? Or maybe we didn't change anything and we are trying to update it. It will come here, it will check this, and then it will throw that error that this category with the same name already exists. So we need to avoid this check for this current category. That means where name is this and c.id is not equals dto.id. That means there is some other category which has the same name. Okay, so that is what we'll do here. So from here also we need to return some error response. From here also we need to return error response, and at the very end we need to return success response. So for this type of response, let's create a specific type in our DTOs. Okay, here we can introduce a type. We can say some API response, but we are not going to use API response because API response is a predefined class in Refit as well. Okay, so instead of this, let's do something else. Let's say maybe quiz API response, something like this. File name does not have extension.cs. Okay, and we'll do this, we'll say public instead of class, we'll make it as a record, public record, and then in here we are going to have one boolean status. So here we can say is success, and then we can have a string error message, nullable error message. Okay, with without any default value. Now we are good. For this, if you follow me, I like to have static factory methods to initialize this type of thing. So here I would simply say public static quiz API response, and here I'll say success. So from here I'll simply create an instance of this with its success true and error message is as null. And I'll copy this one more time. This time I'll say fail or error quiz API response dot fail. This should be false, and when we are failing it, at that time we will be having some error message. So we'll pass false and this error message to this, and now our quiz API response is ready. We'll generate one more version of this later, but right now we are good with this. Let's use this thing in this method. So the save category async method will return this thing. Okay, and now when we are here, so from here we'll simply return quiz API response dot fail, And here we'll have this message. Category with same name exists already. Something like this. Now when we are here, when DV category is null, from here also we'll say quiz API response dot fail. Here we'll say category does not exist. Something like this. And at the very end, we can simply return quiz API response dot success. Okay, so our quiz category async method is ready. Save category async method is ready. Now we will need one method to list all the categories. For this, we'll simply say public async task, and here we'll say category DTU, array of category DTU, get categories async. Okay. And from here, we can simply say return await underscore context dot categories dot as no tracking dot select. We need to transform it to the category DTU. So category DTU with name and ID dot to array async. Okay, now let's register this category service in our DI and then create endpoint for this. Okay, so we'll go to APIs program.cs and here we'll find our service registration. So here we are. On this, we'll simply say add transient category service. Okay, and then in our endpoints, we have auth endpoints. Here we'll create category endpoints, category endpoints.cs. So for this also we'll say public static class category endpoints. Public static will create extension method. So public static I endpoint route builder. Here we'll say map category endpoints, map category endpoints on this I endpoint route builder, and we'll name it as app, and then from here we'll return app. Now on this we'll say app dot map get, first thing, to get all the categories. So we'll simply say slash API slash categories or categories, and because we are going to reuse this thing, so let's create a group. So here we'll say var category group equals app dot map group. Here we'll have API slash categories, and then this map get will create it on category. So category group dot map get, and here we are not going to have anything because it should be that this direct URL. Okay, and then inside this, for its handler, we will simply inject our category service. Category service. Alright, and from here we will simply return results dot okay await category service dot get categories async, and using this we are good with our get endpoint, and then we'll create our post endpoint, category dot map post without anything in here. So it will be using this category group, this URL. So slash API slash categories with post, it will save the category. So in this we need one parameter of type category DTU, and then we'll inject our category service. Category service. Okay, and then from here we'll simply say results dot okay, and from here we'll simply say await category service dot save category async, and we'll pass this DTU as a parameter. And now our map and this get and post both endpoint is ready. Now we just need to use this map category endpoints in our program.cs. So here if we'll see, we have this map auth endpoints. Now on this we are going to chain our map category endpoints. Okay, so this chaining is being allowed by these extension methods which are returning the same type. So the same thing. Alright, now from API standpoint, we are good with category. Now we can go ahead on the admin side and we can start working on this manage categories thing. Okay, so for this we should do one more thing here actually. On this map category endpoints, we should allow access of these category endpoints only for the authenticated users. Okay, so for that thing also we can do app.map group. On here we could say require authorization, so it will be accessible only when user is authenticated. Now this map post saving the category, this should be allowed only for admin, not for student. Okay, but this first map get, it should be allowed for both, for student and for admin. So this thing will be handled by this group only. But on this map post we'll add one more constraint here. Here we'll say we have this require authorization. Again, inside this require authorization, if we check, we can provide it has this multiple overloads. We can use any of these as per as convenience. So here we have one authorization policy. Then we have this I authorized data array. We can pass these params. Then we have policy names array. Then we have the configure policy, that is authorization policy builder. This is an action. So let's use this one. P on this P dot, we have couple of methods here. So on this we can use this require role. And in this we can provide number of roles, comma separated, the string array. So in params format, we can provide our roles. So how we are handling our roles, I forgot. In shared, we have user role, right? User role, admin and student. So for this we'll say require roles, user role dot admin, and it needs a string format, so we'll say name of user role dot admin. Now what we have done, we have introduced authentication for both of these endpoints, but one additional constraint on this map post, it will be accessible only if the current logged in user's role is admin. Okay, so we are good with authorization for category endpoints. Save everything, and now we are good with this admin side of things for category. Now we'll go ahead on the UI for admin. There we'll have this category related stuff. All right.